fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the Grayscale Trust's recent news and a little bit about the market. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay, so as you guys know, April 2nd was Liberation Day, and it turned out to also be Liquidation Day because, the market sell-off that we saw was absolutely insane. Our portfolios have even gotten beat down into the dust. What's interesting about it is crypto is actually holding up pretty well, but I think part of the reason why that is because crypto is not subjected to tariffs. With crypto, you don't need to worry about tariffs because you can, it's crypto. There is no company, there's no countries, none of that. You don't need to worry about it. So, but yeah, even we were down a lot. So, but we'll talk about that more in tomorrow's video when we do the weekly and the monthly videos. So let's just recap quickly over the news articles. I'm not going to go deep into these, but I'll give you guys my reasons why I'm going over this right now. So it says, a few things here like Trump in touch with India, Israel, and Vietnam over trade deal talks, trade deal with U.S. to give India's first movers advantage over Trump tariffs. And yes, first mover advantage does matter a great deal, especially in business. So you got Southeast Asia trying to avert tariff pain. Not sure if there's any other countries right now. I know that Mexico and Canada are in some deals with the United States as of right now. But the whole thing I want to point out about this is, look, it's a negotiation tactic. That's what it is. That's what the president's extremely good at. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the what is the show he used to have called The Apprentice. If you guys haven't seen that, go watch a few episodes. It's pretty entertaining, but he's a master negotiator. That's what he is. So he's a businessman, billionaire, right? Before anything else, even before being president or a politician, he's a businessman. That's just my opinion. So, but he's obviously very wealthy and he's earned it, right? So the thing that I'm seeing here is that this is a negotiation tactic to try to get these countries to essentially bend the knee, so to speak, and give him and the United States what they want, right? And then there will be a negotiation somewhere between what Trump and his administration wants from these countries and what these countries are willing to give to Trump. It's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. But, and again, this is just pure speculation, okay? Until we get some sort of resolution on these negotiations, there's probably still going to be uncertainty in the market, but once these countries one by one start coming out and saying, okay, we agree to this, and then it comes on the news and everybody's like, oh yeah, did you hear that Canada was willing to do 10% tariffs and they agreed to it, and that's a done deal. We don't need to worry about Canada anymore, right? Even if the tariffs still exist, if they're less than they are now, again, typically, right? I mean, a good way to explain this is when you go to buy real estate, right? So you have a low bid, high bid, all that kind of stuff. And then you negotiate into kind of somewhere in the middle in terms of price. This is kind of what I'm trying to get at here. But once it comes out that these deals are actually made, that could actually be bullish for the markets. We could see the market start to rip from that point. Okay, so TSLL down. Again, I do want to point out that TSLL is extremely, extremely cheap right now. I mean, this thing is it's ridiculous, okay? This was more oversold than anything else in the market first, too, which means it may recover first. But the last time we got anywhere near these levels was only a few times. So August 24, April 24, and all the way back here in January 24, or 23, I mean. I showed you guys a lot of the metrics yesterday, so I'm not going to show it to you today, but the fear and greed on stocks is at a 4 out of 100. So, I mean, it's basically dead at this point. I mean, this is about as perfect as a buying indicator as you could possibly get, is having the fear and greed at a 4 out of 10, or sorry, 4 out of 100. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So another indicator that it potentially may be a good time to buy is the VIX has just gone absolutely stupid. It's at a 45 right now with a 51% jump yesterday. And I was meaning to show you guys this as well. I actually forgot though. So we'll post this on X later too so you can see it. But the stocks above the 50-day moving average took an absolute nosedive. We're talking apocalyptic warfare. Just everything got nuked. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Look at this. It's down to a 9. Okay. We have not seen this level since October of 2022 on the stocks above the 50-day moving average on the NASDAQ. So if you guys if you're looking for a perfect golden signal, this potentially could be it right here. Again, I can't guarantee it. We may have another maybe day or two of lower price action before recovering, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. I could be wrong about this, but I'm willing to bet on Monday we're probably going to get a bid and the market's probably going to go up. So S&P version, haven't seen this since October of 23. If you are a long-term investor, here is your indicator right here. The stock's above the 200-day moving average. I mean, look at this candle. This is just insane. 50% drop in one day. The last time we saw anywhere near these levels was all the way back in October of 2022. That was the previous technical bear market low for the NASDAQ and the S&P, which I'm actually going to show you in a minute. So again, very, very, very cheap right now on these levels. Okay, last time, October 2022. So let's go over here to the NASDAQ. I'll show you guys where the level is. Okay, this is October 2022 right here. This was the low of that technical bear market at the time, and then we started going up. Okay, so the proof is right there. You guys can see it for yourself. And again, on the S&P, where was the low? October 2022, and then it was straight up for another 2 years from that point. Again, no guarantees we're at the bottom, but I would say if this is not the bottom, if this truly is not the bottom, I would be absolutely shocked at this point. Because again, I mean, we have just gotten absolutely decimated on price action. It's pretty insane. So Tesla's down very substantially, hardly any green here, a couple of weeks of green, but not much. Another reason why I strongly believe a pretty heavy bid is probably going to come in on the stock over the next, I'd say, probably not longer than maybe 2 to 4 weeks from now. Again, we do have earnings coming up. That's something else to keep in mind as well. I'm not so concerned about the earnings causing Tesla to pump. I'm more concerned about negotiations being made causing Tesla to pump. I think that's the more likely scenario here. And just another quick recap before we cover the Grayscale Trust. Unfortunately for you guys, most of you that are in crypto right now seemingly are protected from the tariff nightmare that we're currently seeing right now. But like I said before, I think it's not just a tactic to negotiate with these countries to get them to kind of bend the knee. I think it's also a combination of that, trying to force the Fed to cut rates, and also they need to be able to the United States needs to be able to refinance their debt at cheaper prices, right? Because some of that debt is coming up due. I don't remember the exact number. I'll look it up for you later. I think it's like 7 or 9 trillion or something like that needs to be refinanced. But in order for that to happen, let me see if I can find them real quick. I know they're here somewhere. So in order for that to happen, the bond yields have to come down, right? Because that is the bond yields and the Fed funds rate have to come down to be able to negotiate at cheaper prices. If that doesn't happen, then it's not possible. So, all right, so the S&P 500 here, again, I did want to point this out. We are oversold on the weekly. That is an extremely rare signal. We have not seen one of those in a very long time. Okay, the S&P is currently down 18%. The last 2 times that we saw this, and I'm making a point here when I say this, okay, was in 2022, albeit it was in June. It wasn't exactly the bottom, but it was pretty close, about a couple hundred points off, right? In June of 2022, which was almost the exact bottom, and then in March of 2020, which was the exact bottom. And then, of course, you have the Fed rate scare back in 2018. That was also the bottom at that time. I can keep going on and on about this. You see that 2015, right? It wasn't the exact low, but pretty close. And then straight up from there. And then obviously going all the way back here to 2011, 2009 or 8 in this case, we were almost at the low, but not quite. You guys kind of get the point here, right? Major bullish confluence going on here. Doesn't look like it because the price is ugly, but again, the idea is to take the contrarian perspective here, right? When everybody has absolutely shit their pants and they all want to panic sell because they think everything is going to zero, that's when people like Warren Buffett and all these other, big money investors look to come in and potentially take a bid and buy the dip. So same thing on the NASDAQ, right? Last time, this one's a little bit different, but May of 2022 is pretty close to the lows, but not quite. And then again in October of 2020. And we're seeing that oversold signal right now. And as a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet that the Russell also has it. Yep. Oversold. What happened last time? October 2023, July, April 2022. Those were all major lows. March 2020. I think you guys get the point. Okay, so let's talk about the Grayscale Trust. Shockingly, you know, the Grayscale Trust were actually up while the the indices were down 6%. So pat yourself on the back for that one. Okay, so as of right now, I would say probably somewhere in this channel is what I'd be looking at for LTCN to potentially get a bounce. Okay, so probably somewhere between maybe like about $5 and, well, I'd say probably around that $5 area. That's the level I'd be looking at the absolute low. And then, of course, 54 is still going to be that move that I'm looking for here one of these days. So 990%. BCHG still within the green box here. Again, that's a flip zone. So 240 to 280 on that level. And then the target all the way up at 20, just shy of 25. So 920%. HZEN, so this one did come down a little bit more. I actually cannot believe how many red candles in a row we're seeing on this. I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 weekly red candles in a row before getting one green and then another 4. Crazy, right? Almost oversold on the weekly. I mean, you guys can do what you want with that, but if there was ever a time I'd be looking to buy, it would be seeing something like that. That's just my opinion. Now, if we get a break below this level right here, this green box that we're in, I would be a little concerned at that point, but we're not seeing that right now. So the bid area here, 150 to about, I'd say about $2. So 140, 150 to about $2, somewhere in there. 1050 for the target for about 600, just shy of 700% ETCG. So we did cut this white line. I'm going to go ahead and say that the next level here is probably going to be somewhere around these wick lows right here, maybe right here. I'll just go with the bottom of this, or the top of this green box at right around $5. Target's still going to be all the way up at 20. It's possible that the move on that candle right there that we're seeing is also an undercut and might just V-shape immediately. That could happen too. So 315% gain. ETHE. So I would say probably somewhere in this box. So 1030 to about 1580. It has fluctuated kind of in and out of that range. So that's the reason why I'm picking the whole range here. The target is 7230 on this one. 597% gain. This is not real textbook. If you take a look at the Russell, I can go back here real quick and show you guys as soon as I find it. You can see this is kind of all over the place, right? It's kind of up, down, in the range, out of the range. It's not real textbook, right? Okay, maybe I don't want that one. Let me go back to the regular Russell up here, the actual Russell 2000. So this is what I'm looking for more textbook, right? In and out. This is just one big range. Again, this is a support and a resistance level, but really technically it's just a range, right? This is textbook. What we saw on that other chart that I was looking at, not very textbook, kind of just all over the place. I think it's meant to fool investors and try to trick people out of their positions. I don't really like charts like this. That's just my opinion. So as a trader, I want to see like kind of a perfect setup. This crap right here, not so perfect. Okay, so the bid area here, 170 on GBET. Target, again, is still going to be the all-time highs at 32. 1,000, roughly about 1,800% gain, FILG. So we're near the bottom of this range. Again, 410 is the bear market low in this case. There is no lower low than that. So that's the level I'd be looking at. Again, the all-time high is the target up here at 400, so about 100x on this one. GLIV. Wow, nice big long wick. That's interesting. So even though the weekly candle is actually red, that's quite curious. So anywhere in this range, I would say probably 220 going up to about 7 on GLIV, and then the target up at 80. For maximum move here, 3,600%. G-Link. So there's a possibility. Again, I can't say with certainty, but there is a possibility this could be a bear flag. All right. And again, I don't want to sound bearish, but I got to keep it real with y'all. If it's bullish, it's bullish. If it's bearish, it's bearish. In this case, that is a bear flag with a flag pull. And I'm not trying to spook anybody here. I don't know that this is going to happen. Okay. We just have to wait and see if the move would be confirmed, but the yeah, it would go pretty low, and it makes sense it would go right around to that level, right around that 620-ish or so would be the target here where those candle wick lows are at. So for now, the bid level is 1842, 2130, and then the target would be all the way up here at 225. And for those of you guys that don't think the bear flag actually works 1100%, I'm going to show you the NASDAQ one more time here in a minute. So GSOL, we did cut this white line. So the next level I'm looking at probably going to be right around this area. That's where some of those candle wick lows are before it bounced and ripped to the upside. So that level currently is 610. And then the target would be anywhere between 80 to roughly about 115 on this one, for 1,830% gain at GXLM. So the next bid level here, 24 at this white line down here, and then the target I'd be looking at for is the swing high up here at 70. So about 200% gain on this one. Next one, Mana. So yeah, lots of panic selling, apparently even in crypto too, almost oversold on the weekly on the RSI. That's something to look at. That's basically a long-term investment signal right there, right? If you had bought back here in December 2022 and rode to the top, I mean, obviously no guarantees, right? But need I say more? I mean, the returns would have been stupid. So $1.50 to $3.50 here for the buy area, 70 for the target. Just so you all know, there is some people that just sit on cash and they wait for either oversold signals on the daily or the weekly time frame as kind of long-term investments. That is one way to position yourself over the long term if you're looking for the absolute cheapest prices. 4,600% gain here. Zcash. So yeah, this one is kind of in no man's land. I would say probably somewhere between 205 to about 320 on this one, and then the target all the way up here at 1040. And again, it's been said that if you miss so about 400% gain, if you miss the top 10 trading days or the best trading days of the year, that you missed most of the gains. In fact, you might also be negative on the year if that's the case. I mean, I suppose the same could be said for either the best or the worst 10 trading days. If you are sitting on cash during the best 10 trading days, you're SOL. If you invested at the top, well, let's just put it like this. If you did not buy the absolute dip of the dip, right, the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, if you didn't buy that, the best 10 days of that, then you're also out of luck. Because again, you were not invested when they went to all-time highs, and you failed to buy when it was at all-time lows. So, I mean, that's that. I don't need to say more about that. So, again, I wanted to reiterate, and I'm not trying to spook anybody here when I say this, but was it this one? No, I think it's the actual NASDAQ here. Hold on a sec, y'all. Okay, for some reason I don't have it on these charts. I don't know why. Give me just a second. I'm gonna go ahead and redo this because for some reason TradingView just keeps wanting to be stupid. Okay, so let's try this one more time. I'm gonna show you guys this bear flag on the charts. All right, bear flag right there. Again, it's not a perfect bear flag, but you kind of get the idea here, right? Bear flag. Flagpole measures from the bottom of the flag to where the top of the move started, and then you measure it from the breakout point to the downside, wherever the confirmation is. In this case, it's right about there, and we have literally almost hit the target exactly to where it shows here. I mean, literally, I can't even make this stuff up. Crazy, right? So 17,400 or 430, 440, somewhere in there. That's pretty much about exactly where we hit. So yeah, the bear flag does work, just so y'all know. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.